Hello, and welcome to Healthy Heart. I am so super duper 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 excited to have this young man on Healthy Heart, Dr. Mardis. He's the dean, and Joy has told me who you are. And sometimes I can't retain it out, but I am so proud that I be cheesing from ear to ear that Dr. Mike Mardis is Dr. Mike. Okay, before I ask you the question where you can introduce yourself and say whatever you want to say,
Okay.
but before I ask you about your first heart smile, because we know how to smile, we were raised to smile. We're from down south, so we know how to smile at people. We can say, hey, and smile, but then we're not always smiling on the inside. So I'm going to ask you about your first interior smile. But before then, I want to say that I've known you forever and a day, way back when I was grown and y'all were kids, way back. And then I reconnected through the years with your wife. You probably didn't know that. I found out that she and I share somebody at my church. And
Oh.
she would start praying for our common denominator. And
Hmm.
she prayed and she would pray and she would give me the status. How y'all were praying. And so whenever I had a request, I would get the word through. So the first of the year, I had a situation, a commercial, it's a situation. I had a situation. So I needed some prayer warriors and I messenger her, I think that's the word, your wife,
Hmm.
to pray. I'm like, I need some prayer warriors. And then she said for me to call you. And you said, before I let you tell your healthy hearts first, boy, you said something I've been repeating. You probably don't even remember. You said, because I was having some twitches and just a mess. You said, Charlene, you sound like a grown person too when you said that. Make me listen. I'm like, well, Charlene, you need to know that you did the best you could. You got them through high school. You did the best. It's on them. I'm saying them, so I won't point nobody. You said it's on them to pick up from there. So don't you wear any guilt. Don't you do that. You gave that person a wonderful education. So don't do that. And did I not hear you? Because normally I don't let grown people that I could be their mama age be grown. But I heard you, and I have been repeating that to my peers. We didn't abuse these people on purpose. We did the best we could. And
Hmm.
this young man said, let it go. Pray for him. You even told me to pray. So I have been so much better since it was January or February of this year. So, anywho, I had to say all that to say how much I love you and how much your word still resonates in me, even the more that I keep repeating it. Okay. So anyway, Dr. Mardis, would you introduce yourself if you like
Oh,
and your first interior heart smile?
okay. All right. Well, let me just say, Charlene, I'm pleased. I'm so thankful to be on here with you. I love your heart.
Mm,
And, you said we've known each other. You've known me since I was a kid. I was close friends, best friends with your son, and spent a lot of time over at your house. We spent a lot of time together, and you always welcomed me into your home and to be able to spend time with you. And so I was always thankful for that. I always felt very welcomed whenever I was spending time with you or your family all throughout. And I'm thankful that we've been able to connect and reconnect and continue to connect over the many years that we have known each other. So it's interesting. You share that story or you share that information about when we connected earlier in the year. And then I think, oh, I need that same information back to me. You say it to somebody else sometimes, speak into somebody else's life. And
yeah.
then sometimes it's harder to be able to do that for yourself because, I've got teenagers now. and the teen and the teen and the teenagers can be a little bit tough sometimes, because they're
Yes.
doing what teenagers do, developmentally appropriate. But it's easier to tell people that when it's not your son or daughter testing the boundaries and challenging your authority and the different things. And sometimes in ways that are appropriate and natural to do so. But it doesn't make it any easier when you are the parent.
Yeah.
So, but I think the first smile, and it was like I was thinking about this, the first smile or the real deep sense of relief that I had when I was a kid. I had a really bad bike accident,
Ooh.
and I flipped up over the handlebars of my bike, and it just it scraped up my whole side of the face, and it closed my mouth and my nose and my eye. And I had to get 26 stitches in my face when I was a kid. And they didn't know if I was going to be able to see in my right eye. And because it was all swollen up, you know, I had to drink out of a straw, and I had messed myself up. And I remember, you know, I went through all that. My mom covered all the mirrors in the house because she didn't want me to see how bad I looked or whatever, I guess. I just remember that the mirrors were covered. So I never even saw what I looked like overall. They didn't take any pictures of me. I don't know what I ever looked like, but, you know. So she covered the mirrors, but they didn't. I remember they said, well, we won't know until his eye eventually opens up if he'll be able, what his vision will be like, or how he will be with that eye. And I remember as a kid, and being in the garage in my house and walking through the garage and that eye just kind of slowly started opening up for the first time, because the swelling had gone down, you know, all this different treatment, all this different stuff. And this was, I can't remember over what period of time it had been like that, but it was over a long period of time. And then finally it was opened up that first time, and I could feel, okay, it's going to open up now. And I was by myself, and I was like, well, what's going to happen? You know, am I going to see anything or not? And then I could see light. When it started opening, I could see light. And then eventually it was fuzzy, and then things became more and more in view. And I realized that I still had my sight, and I was very, you know, thankful and joyful. I mean, it's a young kid. I mean, you realize, you know, I'd already started playing baseball. I was playing baseball or t-ball. So I was already doing some sports things. It's like, well, I need to be able to see. I haven't been able to play baseball or do anything. So.
Wow. Now it still makes a smile, no matter how much life goes on top. That heart smile still smiles. And I love heart smiles. I do. Now,
I don't think about that much though. Cause I had to go back and say, okay, when I was a kid, what was the early memory of, like, a big smile or whatever? But
life can take those things if you let it, or you sometimes just have to press it through, because it's a smile that the world, nothing can take away. It'd be like, I'm smiling again. Woo. Okay, check this out, Dr. Mardis. Let me tell you what happened the other day. Like I said, Joy's not here no more, but Noah, he's 13, her baby.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, when you're kids, I learned that the children taught me they ear hustle, because I was like, what you doing? It was years ago. One of the great babies said, I'm ear hustling. So that meant they listen, and you don't know they're watching. So as a great grandmother, I ear hustle a lot. So I was in the room ear and watching, hustling or whatever. And that boy was on the internet, and some of the stuff I saw, I was like, oh my God, so I was curious if you could, knowing the time it is now, because there's some stuff you might be familiar with, but my jaw about dropped. So telling your 12-year-old self some advice, being who you are now, what would you tell your 12-year-old self in 2020 with this COVID being in the house, this internet? It's not all bad because we're on the internet, and the climate, the racial climate, how would you encourage your 12-year-old self?